Hello everyone, welcome to Homework Help. If you find the videos useful, please subscribe to the channel. So in this video, we'll solve this problem using the concepts of domain and range. So we have to find the domain and range of these two relations that are given in the form of graphs. So before we find the domain and range, let's try to understand what domain and range mean. Domain refers to the set of all possible x values, and range refers to set of all possible y values for a relation or function. So let's start with the graph on the left side. This graph is made up of individual points, and these points are all over the graph. Now, as you know, a point is made up of an x number or an x coordinate and a y coordinate. So the domain in this case will be all the x coordinates of all of these points that make up this graph. So in this case, we'll have to list all the x coordinates of all of these points. So let's start with the domain. So we'll write the x coordinates in braces, and we'll start from the left side and go all the way to the right side. So on the left side, the first point has an x number -10, because on the x-axis each square represents 2 units. So this x number is -10, and for the next point the x number is -8. So this is how we have to cover all points all the way to the right side. So the next one is -6. Now there is another point here which has the x coordinate -6, but we do not repeat a domain or range value, so we write -6 just once. So for the next one, it's -4. And the next one is -2. So we have to write just the x coordinates. And the next one is on the y-axis, so the x value is 0. And then the next one is 2. And the next one is 4. And then the next one is 6. It's on the x-axis. And the next one is 8. And the last one is 10. So this is the domain of this relation given in the form of this graph. We can write the range. So for range, we'll list all the y coordinates of all of these points. Now for range, we'll go from bottom to top because we have to list the y values from the least to greatest. So the lowest y value is -8. The next higher point is on the y-axis and it's at -7. The next higher point is at -6. And then the next higher point is at -5. And then the next higher point is at -4. Now there are 2 points at -4, but we write -4 only once. Now the next point is at -2. So these are just y coordinates of these points. Then the next one is at 0 because it's on the x-axis. And then the next higher one is at 4. Now there are 3 points whose y coordinate is 4, but we only write it once. And then there's only one point at 8. So that's the range for the first graph. Now we can analyze the second graph. Now in this graph, we are not given specific points, but instead we are given a continuous curve. So that means we have to write our domain and range either in interval notation as an interval or in the inequality notation with the greater than or equal to sign. So let's start with the domain. So we can write the domain in the interval notation. Now in this case, the graph starts at this point here at 6, -2, and it goes continuously on the left side. Now the graph does not go to the right side of this point because there is no arrow on this side. So that means this graph only spans the part of the x-axis from 6 all the way to the left. Now as we discussed earlier, domain is for x values. So for this graph, the domain will be from -infinity to 6. And 6 is included in the domain because there is no empty dot to show that the endpoint is not included. So as you go from left to right, the whole x-axis is covered or spanned by this curve all the way till 6. So that's the domain in the interval notation, and in the inequality notation, the domain will be written as x is less than or equal to 6. So now we can write the range. Now the range is for y values, so we have to see which part of the y-axis does the graph span. Now along the y-axis, the graph starts at -2, and then the curve keeps going up and it will cover the whole y-axis above -2. So that means the range for this graph will be, so the lower value will be -2, and it's part of the range because the endpoint is included on the curve and goes all the way to positive infinity. And for infinity, we always use the parentheses. So this should be the range for this curve in interval notation. And in the inequality notation, the range will be y is greater than or equal to -2 because range is for y values. So this is how we write the domain and range for these two types of relations. So when you're given the points, then we have to list the x values for domain and y values for range. But when we are given a curve, then we have to use the interval notation or the inequality notation. So I hope you'll find this video useful. Please share it, like it, and subscribe to Homework Help. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Bye.